Hey y'all, it's Necey Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, y'all, welcome back. I hope y'all follow me on Instagram. I'm like sitting over here laughing because I asked y'all a question on my Instagram story, and I wanted to know, should your partner pay for your friends at your birthday dinner? And I'm gonna drop it in the chat because I want to know. Is it yes or no? Okay. Because as bad as I wanted to clown on Martell, y'all, I think we might need to be fucking for real. Okay. So I'm gonna leave the chat open pretty much until we get through this review, and then we're gonna come back around. We're gonna talk about Martell and Sheree and Sonya. I was trying to pull the clip of it, but I couldn't get like the visual to be how I really wanted it to be. Then on top of that, y'all know they like to flag whenever you start showing other content on top of your content. So I was like, you know what? It's not even worth the struggle. I'll recap y'all, and if y'all really want to know what happened with Sheree and Sonya in their sit down, all you got to do is go over to my Instagram and tap through my story, and then you'll see the post that I'm talking about. Okay? But first and foremost, y'all, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to see y'all and talk to y'all. Let me say hello to y'all in the chat. Hey, Nola. Hey, Keisha Boo. T. Hey, Fave. Hey, Makia. Andrea Moore, Pink Pearls, Miss Ann. Hey, J Dub, how you doing? All right. So, I hate to say it, y'all, but that whole conversation about like, should your partner pay for the bill when it comes to your birthday party is like another one of those, like, I don't know. Do I want to say that it's like a tired Twitter conversation? I guess, but it's something that really gets people talking, right? And I hate to say that it was better than the episode to me, but we're going to get into the order of events because I remember something happening in this episode. I can't remember what it was. I guess I'm going to find out when I go through the notes. And I remember I was like, damn, I can't wait to talk to y'all about this. So I can't remember what it was, but we're going to get into it, okay? So, y'all, the episode starts off with something like little clips of something. Didn't really matter. I skipped over that. And we get into Drew wanting to host this mental health retreat, right? Side note, have y'all watched Jocelyn's Cabaret? I don't support that bullshit no more. But when I did watch the season of Jocelyn's Cabaret, they was in Atlanta. And I promise you, the house that Drew was trying to host this retreat at, I believe that's the same exact house that Jocelyn's Cabaret was in. So when the owner of that house was standing there and was like, so what do you want to do here? What do you plan to do for this retreat? He was like trying to get some order to his house. Because if it was anything like the bullshit that Jocelyn had going on, he was not gonna have y'all coming over, okay? So I was like, that looked real familiar. And suddenly I remember. So that's why. So y'all, the episode starts out really cute, y'all. We find out that Sonya's pregnant, y'all. It was so like, okay, y'all know Sonya get on my nerves. I be telling y'all, well, when she first started, I told y'all she was a 4-time gold Olympic medalist, 1-season housewife, but she proved me wrong with that. She's a 2-season housewife. I highly doubt that she gets more seasons on Housewives than she does Olympic gold medals, but you know, this was cute. I'm happy for Sonya. You know, she ends up surprising her husband, Ross. Now, if y'all know me, it took everything in me to actually call her husband Ross and not Ralph. I just looked at my notes, and even my notes said Ralph, y'all. Okay, so she surprises her husband Ross, and she's like acting like she's flipping through some notes, and then you open up the notes, and then you see the pregnancy test, and I was like, oh, that is cute as fuck, right? So then next, they go downstairs. I don't know if this is like the same day or a couple days later, because I know they didn't bust out the Cricut machine that fast and put the pregnant weir on their sweatshirts. But they end up surprising the family. They end up turning around, and it's cute because they're like standing in the wrong position where the back of one shirt says weird, the back of the other shirt says pregnant, but they were flipped. So it said pregnant weird. Now, from that conversation, Sonya's family ends up telling her that they actually found an apartment. And I just wanted to know, like, did they all find an apartment together? Or did like the sister find an apartment and the parents find an apartment? Y'all let me know how y'all interpreted that, because I still had questions. I just wanted to know, like, I don't know. Is there still some financial dependency where y'all just gonna have to depend on each other? Ain't all y'all gonna be cooped up in that apartment? Because Sonya's sister has 3 kids, I believe. Let me know. She might have 2, but I have a strong feeling that it is 3 kids and 4 adults, which to me, the math is not mathing, you know. There's too many people for an apartment. 2, she got 2 kids. Okay, so 6 people, is that right? That's too many people for an apartment. I think that's too many people for an apartment. I know some places have like, I think the biggest apartment that like I've heard of was a 3-bedroom apartment. I'm sure in cities where it's like apartment dense, which low key is Dallas, I'm sure they have 4 bedrooms somewhere, but I'm like, come on. Y'all saying different stuff. T says they all in an apartment, and then A says separate apartments, same complex. Kimmy says the same thing. Okay, cool. And then Cameron Waters, shout out to y'all. Y'all gonna clear it up. Cameron ends up saying that her husband has a child from a previous relationship. So maybe that's where I got the 3 from. Okay. Well, I hope that they're living separately, because that's a bit chaotic. Okay, so now y'all, we move on to Drew and Ralph's date. Y'all, I also watched Speak on It this week. And the video really wasn't that long. It was only like 30 minutes this week. And in the Speak on It, Candy ends up asking her guest, I can't remember his name, but she ends up asking her guest, do you think that it's just Ralph that does the manipulator, or do you think that Drew does it also? And I feel like he answered the question honestly. He said, I feel like Drew does it sometimes, but I have to say it's mostly Ralph. And if I were to answer the question, y'all, I would have to say I feel like Drew tries to manipulate the girls, but it's not so much that I see Drew manipulating Ralph. Now, in this conversation, I was low-key shocked, because I'm like, who are we speaking to? Drew came through acting brand new, for real. Really brand new. So anyway, we found out that Ralph is not going to marriage counseling anymore. I think she talked about that a couple episodes back. She also told us that Ralph moved out the bedroom. So at this point, Drew is just like, are we working on it, or are we not working on it? Like, I can't be the only person in the marriage working on our relationship. I'm doing this, y'all, because a marriage takes 2. So I'm just like, at this point, the way that Drew and Ralph act towards each other, it's not even giving marriage, y'all. It's giving roommate. It's giving Ralph and Rob. I mean, not Ralph. It's giving Juan and Robin. It's giving roommate. And I feel like Drew is to the point to where she like, okay, I got to say something. And I actually respect Drew for this. Old girl can lie. And before I really start talking about Drew like that, let me say rest in peace to her father. Drew posted on Instagram today that her dad passed away from Alzheimer's. So I hate that for her. But yeah, rest in peace. I'll say Drew is a liar, though. Drew is a liar, but I really like her. I feel like she's good for the show. I feel like she gives what's supposed to be given. I feel like she always has a storyline. So I would love to even see her date, because I was going to say, if Ralph leaves, where does that leave us? But I would like to see her date. Like, yeah, I think it would be cool. So anyway, Ralph tries to find a way to manipulate himself out of this situation. He wants an excuse as to why he's not going to therapy. So, number one, he says that he needs time to do the work. Then he says that therapy will end up getting them divorced, not making it better. And to me, it just sounds like a lot of bullshit. And we know that at this point, Drew has been in therapy for over a year. So I feel like what we're seeing really is good, y'all. I would love to see something similar to this on Bell Collective with Latrice and Cliff. Like, I feel like when we first met Drew did not have any ounce of mental strength to really like use her own brain and know that the sky is blue and an elephant is heavy and 2 + 2 = 4. She didn't know that. If Ralph told her anything different, she would doubt herself. So I'm actually really glad that we're seeing her develop into like an independent thinker and not really be mentally abused. So she ends up telling him, like, at this point, all I can do is worry about myself. I'm not going to mother you. So either you in it or you're not. Then she also says that this movie for Todd is going to take her away for 10 days. So she's going to need his support. And just like a bad husband, he ends up saying, well, I have a lot going on too. He basically says he's not going to be able to help her. So, Drew, I think you know what needs to be done. So next, y'all, we move on to Shamia, Candy, and Kenya. And when they sit down, Kenya is talking about wanting to have another baby. But the issue is Kenya is 52 years old. When she had Brooklyn, apparently she almost died. And she just cannot risk her life doing that again. So she's considering a surrogate, which is why she's talking to Candy and Shamia. But the funny thing is this, y'all. This is very similar to that bullshit that was in the news a couple months ago. And I got to keep the same energy, y'all. I can't even be fake. Khloe Kardashian, I said a couple months ago, it might have been a whole year ago now. Remember, Khloe decided to get pregnant again when her and Tristan Thompson broke up, right? He was caught in a club kissing them girls. Apparently, they claimed they stayed broke up, but she still wanted to have more babies with the same man. So she did. And I think it was like an embryo type situation, similar to what Kenya is saying. She had a surrogate as well. So when that came out, I immediately was like, that's dumb as fuck. Okay. I don't understand. Like, let's say this. Like, this is the exact same situation, y'all. Tristan Thompson, just like Mark Daly, have proven themselves to be half-ass fathers. And we may see we may see Tristan be there for Khloe's kids, but let's not forget he had a whole nother kid with Jordan before he even got with Khloe. And I don't think he did shit for that kid, right? So now that we know that Mark Daly is what Kenya calls a FaceTime dad, I just truly don't understand what the hype is around having one baby daddy. Like, I don't understand. Like, men do it all the time. They have multiple baby mamas, okay? Like Brian McKnight, they start back at one. They start over. They forget the other one and they move on, right? So at this point, like, I know Kenya's 52, but I would go to the doctor and be like, I got money for days. Y'all got to do something, okay? Something has to give. I just don't understand. I would never be in a rush to have kids by a half-ass man, like, just because I had the embryos. That's crazy, right? Oh yeah, good point, J-Dub. Tristan had a baby on Khloe while together. Exactly. You see what I mean? Like, that's so crazy to me. Like, why are you so stuck on having one baby daddy when you end up having kids with a man who got all these half siblings everywhere? I don't understand it, y'all. A. Shannon says Kenya may not have any viable eggs that aren't already fertilized with Mark's sperm. And even then, y'all, that would not be enough for me to want to create another child with him. Like, I just don't understand why you would even get all your eggs fertilized by that man. Like, nothing in the back of your head was telling you, let me not put all my eggs in one basket. Like, I know the old ladies always been told y'all, keep your own, keep a rainy day savings. Okay. So that's what she should have done with her eggs. So yeah, that's not enough for me to even, I mean, there's so many other ways to have a baby that if I wanted a baby that bad, I think that I would want a baby more than I would want to have a baby with that man's sperm. Like, to me, I feel like if that meant that the kid didn't have my DNA, but I was going to have another baby, then that's just what it was. That's just what it was. And then Billy says, Kenya doesn't need Mark. She wants a baby. Yeah, I understand that. I don't think that Kenya wants Mark at all. But also, we have to think, like, is that ethically right? Like, it sounded like this is a whole nother conversation that I feel like I need somebody else who knows much more about to talk to me about. But I'm going to let y'all know what my thoughts were. Candy asked Kenya something about, can you do it? Because it's Mark's sperm. Y'all are currently going through a divorce. Mark keeps doing things to prolong the divorce. So how is it that you can just decide to have his baby? Like, you know what I mean? That's odd. Kenya says that it was only one. Like, it only needed one person on the papers or whatever. So to me, what I got from that is that Kenya has the rights to produce with his sperm, and there's nothing that he can do about it. Which, on the other hand, I don't think is cool. I don't think that is cool, especially when a man has proven to be a half-ass father. Just because you have access to his sperm and they're already fertilized with your embryos, I don't think that you should have the right to say, hey, I'm going to create anyway, and you don't have to be involved. That's especially if, like, it's one thing when a man is laid up with a woman and y'all have sex and y'all produce naturally, and the woman decides, this is my body, I'm gonna decide what I want to do, and I'm gonna keep the baby, and you don't have to be involved. But whenever it comes to someone using your DNA and deciding at any point that they can have a kid by you, even if you may change your mind, that's weird to me. And I just wouldn't do it. Katrina says Kenya has the rights. Okay, that's what I thought. I personally wouldn't do it. And something about that just, I don't know, it just don't sit right with me. Honestly, y'all, like, I want to ask y'all if the shoe was on the other foot, as most of y'all in the chat are women, or even some of the men in the chat. If the shoe was on the other foot, y'all, if somebody had access to your DNA who you were married to, and then y'all get a divorce and they decide that they want to have more kids, like, would you be okay with that? To even reach a little bit further, y'all, let's say that Kenya didn't have the rights. Let's say that Mark had the rights. Because Kenya was speaking about carrying this baby through a surrogate anyway, let's say Mark had the rights, got with another woman, and decided to create, but through the new woman. Like, y'all, that's just, I don't know. It's so many things with science that's just wild to me. So as for me, it's a no. Cameron says if he isn't fathering the first one, the second one won't miss him. RL says don't pass that along to a child, knowing the biological child will grow up with an absentee father who never wanted him. Pink Pearl says, so weird. I bet that's part of the reason they're going back and forth with divorce. Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. And then Kimmy Boo says it's really Mark's fault for signing up for that. Yeah, it is, right? It is. But it is what it is. That shit sucks. T says, I'm never signing over my eggs or embryo. So no, I don't think it's morally correct, even though legally there's no issue. I think that's the perfect way to put it. That's the perfect way to put it. Okay, cool. Vintage says if she's not asking for any support, it would be no different than using a sperm donor. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. We'll see. But that's just me throwing a bunch of different scenarios at y'all. I just couldn't imagine actively going through a divorce with somebody and being like, okay, let me run to the lab and have another baby real quick. Okay. So anyway, now we get to the conversation, y'all. Kenya ends up telling Candy and Shamia that Martell did not pay for Sheree's birthday dinner and that he asked all the ladies to cash app him at Nobu. So we move on to a confessional and we see Martell and Sheree on the phone and they end up asking Sheree if Martell bought her anything for her birthday. And she says, spring, summer, y'all know how Sheree like to lie. She gets stuttering and saying things that don't make sense. So she starts stuttering and she says, he bought me a Alexander McQueen bag. Martell doesn't buy high end. He doesn't buy high end. And you know, Alexander McQueen, like, I'm just confused because I looked up Alexander McQueen bags and it looked like they range, most of the bags I saw range from like $1,200 to $3,000. And I feel like for a regular person, that's what you would consider a luxury bag, like a Louis Vuitton or something like that. So I don't know if she meant like a Birkin or something like that. Like, I'm not understanding what she meant, but I guess. So do he buy you luxury or do he not? I don't know. Whatever. So now we move on to Candy and Drew, and they're starting the first day of filming for Ty's new movie, or not first day of filming. They're going to do a table read. And it's pretty awkward the first time that they meet up, but you know, they keep it cool, they keep it cute. And Drew says that she's at peace because she knows the truth. Drew, I still think you lying. And I feel like at this point in time, you just need to stop pressing the lie. Stop pressing the lie. I don't want to hear nothing about it. I don't want to hear nothing about you and LaToya. I don't want to hear nothing about you kissing girls. But I guess that the season is not over. I guess the season's not over because we still haven't heard anything about Drew and Ty Hunter. I think that's that girl's last name. Mimi, ex-fiance. So we get around to the table reading, and I didn't know Shamia and Mayetta are also in the movie. And I think that, you know, Mayetta and Shamia, not Mayetta, let me back up. I think that Candy and Shamia and Drew did a great job with their reads. Now, Mayetta, we gonna need a little bit of work. Okay, we gonna need a little bit of work, but maybe she just got like 2 lines. But I don't know. Mayetta's 2 lines did not hit. Okay, so finally, y'all, we get to the mental health retreat. And when we do, I think it's a cute little event. We see that Drew and Ralph arrive second. And I don't know. Everybody wanted to make it seem like it was a big deal that Ralph didn't greet Drew. But if you watch it back, Drew didn't greet Ralph first. You see Ralph and Ross walking into the house at the same time. And Drew goes, oh my gosh, hey, Ross. And she gets super excited. And she goes up to Ross. And apparently Ralph is feeling some type of way, like, oh, she done greeted another man before she greeted me. And she's super excited to see him, but she ain't said nothing to me. And I'm her fucking husband. I'm sure he was thinking all that. So basically he was like, okay, when you do say hey to me, I'm going to pay you dust. And it was just back and forth. And I just really hate that. I hate the Ralph and Drew dynamic. I'm ready for you to move on and be on your Tia Mowry posting your dates or whatever, because Ralph does not like Drew. Ralph and Drew are enemies and y'all are married. Y'all don't like each other. Y'all are not nice to each other. Y'all are not kind. Y'all are not loving from what I see. And it's just hard to even watch, right? Okay, so what else happened? Drew's sister Allison speaks about her mental health, which was good to hear about. She went through her mental health thing whenever she was going through a divorce. And then they have like a drop it with Drew session, which I don't know why they having a drop it with Drew session. Like, just let it go. I too, like Marlo, hopped on the internet last night searching for drop it with Drew and did not find a thing on the web. I'm like, be for real. Next, we move on to a meditation session where Candy actually starts crying because I guess she just feels like a release. So at this point, this retreat is doing everything that Sheree thought that she was going to do in Portugal. Now, this is what happened that I wanted to talk to y'all about. I could not remember what it was. So they showed that little clip, y'all, of Ralph outside with the husbands. So he's outside with Ross, and I believe Monyetta's husband is named Heath, right? The three men outside talking. Then you see Drew's. I'm trying to decide if I want to light this lady up based off of the 5 seconds that I saw on TV. Because when I was sitting in the bed last night watching the show, and I said, I'm going to tell y'all what I said, okay? I don't know this lady, but I took the shit personally. Not because it happened to me, but because I was just thinking, like, if this shit ever did happen to me, I would be just as mad, okay? So Ralph is outside with the men, and then you see Drew's big, wide, gap mouth ass friend walk up to Ralph, and she says, "Hey, baby." And he said, "Hey," her name was Keisha. "Hey, Keisha, how you doing?" She said, "I'm doing good. You look like you've been working." And she looked at him and said, turned around, mouth was this fucking wide, gap was this fucking big. Y'all knew what y'all was doing production when y'all decided to leave that in there. Everything about that made me like immediately get hot. Number one, yes, he said, "You looking good, Keisha." Yeah, okay. Make sure I don't leave that part out. He said, "You looking good, Keisha." Everything about that scene, between the audacity of Ralph to do that shit in front of people, for the audacity of the big wide mouth gap ass friend to do that at her friend's event, and then the label said Drew's friend, not Ralph's friend, is given very much that your friend fucks your husband. Y'all, I was like, "Are you serious?" And then another part of me was like, "Ugh, are you serious?" Go back and watch the episode if you have not watched the episode. I'm not by any means saying that this girl was ugly because she had a gap. But I'm by all means saying that this girl is not touching Drew. I don't know where this girl is from. The girl's not looking like anything. She looked like she had a domino piece in the middle of her mouth. And you had the audacity that told me everything I needed to know about Ralph, y'all. That told me that Ralph probably be out here just fucking on anything as long as it's not Drew. That provides me a whole new level of disgust, okay? Because I'm already like, ew. Like, for real, you gonna cheat on your wife, right? But when I see that your caliber of women to like flex, flirt, emotionally cheat with, do anything is below ground, that's a problem. I'm disgusted, and I hate it for Drew, and it's just unacceptable. Damn, the sunlight is coming through. It's unacceptable, y'all. Ooh, so I want to know more about that, right? Okay, cool. So now we move on from that. Hold on. I don't want to move on yet. I want to read y'all's comments. Okay. Let me see. Hey, Harold. Harold said, "I peeped that too. It was giving bro and sis vibes, if you catch my drift." Hell yeah. Kimmy says, "Almost as egregious as Lisa's husband on his hot mic on Real Housewives of Miami." I have not watched Real Housewives of Miami, so I don't know. Tile says, "Check your friend sis. She wasn't cute. Neela says, "I gotta rewatch. I'm lost." Girl, go back and watch that. Monique says, "Drew ain't got no real friends, in my opinion." That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, she ain't got no Friends. Rhonda says the field gap. I am disgusted. I was disgusted, y'all. Please go watch that. Please go watch it. Okay. So, yeah, Drew, you might want to be careful. And y'all think about the fact that when we met Drew in her first season, I think she said that she hadn't had sex with her husband for like some elongated period of time because she didn't trust him. Y'all let me know if I'm confusing her with somebody on Bell Collective, but I really think Drew said that when we first met her was that they weren't having sex because she didn't trust him. And now that I see that Ralph's caliber of women is to the fucking ground, and I know y'all that it don't matter what they look like. Now that I know your husband be out here with anybody and everybody, keep that strapped up. Keep that strapped up, Drew. You got to keep your legs closed to your husband. Ooh, child. Okay. So now, y'all, we move on from that. We move on from that to the dinner. And Drew is talking about the mental health thing. What they say? Okay, so Drew's talking about the mental health thing and how she ended up running away from everybody with because she was going through something and she didn't want to express herself. And Sheree's own messy ass decides to bring up the court case and says, "Oh, so are you comfortable talking about the court case? How did it go?" So they go back and forth between two parallels. They show Ralph telling the story about the chef and they show Drew telling the story about the chef. This just sounds like a whole bunch of nonsense to me. I don't think they're lying about what the lady was over there for. I think they're lying about the amount. So initially they say that the woman comes over to be hired as a chef. It was hair in the food, so they fired her as a chef. But then they tried to hire her as a nanny. And I just want to know, where the fuck are y'all getting these people from? Where the fuck are y'all getting these people from who come over to your house as a chef, and then because they don't get the job as a chef, you end up trusting them to watch your kids? Huh? Are you hiring these people off a thumbtack? Like, I don't get it. So the one thing that I do think they're lying about is Drew claims that the amount was actually $10,000 at this point. But, Real Housewives of Atlanta, the editors and producers, they do their work. They work hard, and they pulled up the court case document showing that it was only for $1,000. $1,000. So, I mean, honestly, y'all, if this was me, I gotta be for real with y'all. I wouldn't have paid the lady $1,000. So if she was taking me to court for 10, she'd just be taking me to court for 10. If you came over for a trial run of a job that you didn't get, I'm not paying you $1,000 unless the contract said that you would be paid for your time, right? So I just don't understand why Drew and Ralph are lying. Like, y'all know how I feel about stuff. I can respect you and I can ride with you as long as you say it with your chest. Yes, the girl wanted $1,000. I don't care if I got $1 million. The bitch not getting $1,000 from me because it's my money. And you should have stood on it instead of making up all these additional lies. I'm like, what is going on? Like, did she go to a culinary institute and then have a degree in child development? Like I don't get it. It don't even make sense. Okay, so Sheree ends up talking about her birthday party. We find out that she invited Sonya, Marlo, and even Courtney, reaching begging ass for some TV screen time. But she didn't invite Candy. Candy feels some type of way because we done been friends for a long time. And I truly do think Candy feels some type of way because the amount of passes that Candy has given Sheree over the years, I think that Candy would have made a way to be there. But they end up hashing out real quick at the table, real cute, and they leave it alone. So then Cynthia, cheekbones. I can't believe I ain't said nothing about her this whole time. She's sitting at the table and she says, I'm hearing that the group is divided, and they start talking about Portugal. Mayetta shares that Courtney, cousin Courtney, reaching begging ass for screen time Courtney, ends up calling Drew a bitch. And she's like, no, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. She's arguing and saying, I never called her a bitch. I don't use that type of language. I would never say that. And they pretty much argue back and forth. And I believe it 100%. I think Drew believes it too. And this is a part of the collusion that Mayetta was talking about, y'all. And when they end up replaying the clip, she actually said, this bitch had the nerves to blah, blah, blah. So yes, she was referring to Drew. She was very much just trying to get in where she fit in. And I knew that from the moment that she came on the show. So for Drew to be as open to actually consider this bitch your cousin was beyond me. Like, regardless of if Ralph claimed her, I wouldn't have claimed her, because why is it that she come on this TV show trying to act like she know Candy? She don't know Candy. Then you bring your baby daddy around who we ain't seen on TV in decades, right? And now all of a sudden your cousins with Drew and Ralph. No, it's giving scammer to me, and you wouldn't have got in off of my back. So I think that Drew was being too friendly, in my opinion. So now, y'all, at the end of the retreat, Sonya ends up taking a group picture, and in the group picture, she surprises the group with her shirt, which says, "I'm pregnant." And it was super cute, y'all. I was like, this is so cute. I'm so happy for Sonya. And in the last bit of the episode, we see Drew and Dr. Ken. And y'all, Dr. Ken has been waiting forever for this moment. I think Dr. Ken is tired of talking to the wall. Dr. Ken is tired of having the same conversations, and he's encouraging Drew at this point to leave. You can see the smile or the grin in his face. And Drew says that at this point, she's willing to stand strong and draw a line. Y'all, mind y'all, this is just a session with Drew and Dr. Ken because Ralph stopped going to the sessions. And Dr. Ken says, well, it sounds to me like you're saying that you can't be gaslit anymore. And Drew's like, yeah, I think that's it. So Drew ultimately roundabout says that, she can't really be in a relationship where she feels like someone doesn't really care about her emotions, don't really care about her feelings. And Dr. Ken again rounds it up. And he said, it sounds like you're saying that Ralph doesn't care about your feelings. And she was like, yeah. Everything Dr. Ken was saying was a little bit too real, y'all, right? Because Drew would tiptoe around it, and Dr. Ken would call it out like, this is what you mean. So Drew says she feels like she's doing it by herself. And Dr. Ken says, well, your first relationship is to yourself. So what are you going to do? And they kind of leave the episode right there. Now, y'all, I think that the episode was okay. Most of these episodes have just been okay. But I asked y'all a question at the beginning of this video. So if you have not had the chance to answer the question, I suggest you hop down in the poll right now. My question to y'all was, should your partner pay for your friend's dinner at your birthday dinner? So I'm going to close the chat in 10 seconds. And I want to read y'all's answers. And I want y'all to fill the chat up with y'all's responses. And then I'm going to give y'all my response, because this is something that I thought about as I was watching the episode. Y'all know I can't stand Martell's old trifling ass. Y'all know I can't. But at the end of the day, I low-key had to be fucking for real. So jump off in the chat, and then I'm going to go through it. I'm going to end the poll now. Okay, so we had 91% of y'all vote. And the question was, should your partner pay for your friends at your birthday dinner? 60% said yes, and 39% said no. I really thought that the response was going to be different. I thought the response was going to be closer to 50-50, right? Okay, so Kimmy says, I can't pick, depends on the situation. T says, when somebody throws you a baby shower, do they ask the attendees to split the venue? Excellent question. Bree Chantel says, with their money, yes, money. Golden Baby says, but I don't think he should have to pay. Cameron says, in a millionaire world, yes. Julian says, Martell should have paid, especially as you move up in socioeconomic circles. It was cheap and tacky to ask at the table. This is the one for me. I think this one hits all the points that I want to make, but I still want to talk to y'all about it. Tile says, it depends though. If he invited the friends last minute, then yes. But if she invited them and him as a guest, then no. Kimmy says it should be made clear to the guest if you expect them to pay for their own dinner. Absolutely. Whoever plans the party pays. Keisha says no. And then I saw one that looked like it was good, and I can't even find it now. Oh, A. Shannon says, if my husband calls up my friends to invite them out for my birthday, he should pay. Harold says, I chose no because while it would be a nice gesture, I don't think they're obligated to pay for everyone. Mm, this the one for me. Hey, babe. I say no, but since Sheree was bragging about her to them, then yes. Y'all, if I invite you to a birthday dinner, I'm paying. If you invite me, I expect you to pay. But wasn't it Martell is throwing me a birthday dinner? Then yeah, you hosting and that's the damn cost. Okay. So this is what I want y'all to talk. This is like, it's so many dynamics to it, right? I start thinking to myself, if you taking the housewives out to dinner and things are often paid for, then yes, you should pay for it. That was my immediate thought. Like, Martell, you should have paid for it. You inviting all these ladies on the show where they often pay for stuff. Like what Kenya said a couple episodes ago, broke bitches split checks, right? And then the other side of me was like, okay, but for a regular ass person, but I've never been like, I have to be fucking for real. And this is what I'm saying to y'all. I have never been to somebody's birthday party where their man pays for the whole table. And let me clarify, not a birthday party, birthday dinner. Now, if somebody is hosting a party or an event, you should never have to pay anything at all. But I've never been to a party or a dinner, I'm sorry, where my stuff was covered. I've always had to pay for myself. Now, I don't run in the money circles like the girls do from Real Housewives of Atlanta. So that expectation for me just is not there when it comes to my friends and their men. But I definitely understand why in Martell's situation it should be, honestly. And it's like, if you go watch the video with Sanya and Sheree really did not want to have to listen to what Sanya was saying at all. Sanya kind of backtracked and was like, okay, well, y'all are just dating. Maybe he shouldn't pay. And to me, y'all, I think, let me stand on this. Martell should have paid if he was hosting the event in that circle, right? I don't care if Martell was her boyfriend. I don't care if Martell is her friend boy. I don't care like if Martell is her husband. I don't think that matters at all. I think that he should have paid because of the group that they're in and what that group typically does. They typically pay for each other. They do. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Sanya saying that. I think what Sheree was basically trying to say was that her man ain't got no fucking money, and she know her man ain't got no fucking money, and she ain't got no problem with that, so y'all shouldn't have a problem with it either. But I have to side with Sanya. If it was your last $1,500, put that shit on a credit card and don't say nothing about it, because I'll be damned if my man is going around the table asking everybody to send him money on Cash App. I'll be damned if my man is asking everybody to send him money on Cash App. Eat that shit, okay? That is just so like, that would be embarrassing to me, honestly. So I think it's different levels to this. Like, if it's a regular ass circle, think about who you with. Think about what your friends typically do. Think about what y'all money looking like. Be fucking for real, right? But when you're talking about the situation of Martell, I think he should have paid. And I think that Sheree was just talking in circles, trying to make up excuses, not really wanting to hear where Sanya was coming from. She even tried to like embarrass Sanya by saying, your husband was there. He shouldn't want anybody to pay for him. He shouldn't want another man to pay for him. And I was just like, girl. Next thing is, y'all, when you start going to them high dollar expensive restaurants, they don't want you handing over 15 cards. When you go to big money restaurants like Nobu, it's because your money's long. Okay. Or either you really want to splurge. Maybe your money ain't that long, but you know you're gonna splurge for dinner. They're not expecting you to hand the waiter 15 cards. So that's another situation where I'm like, be fucking for real. Okay. If you want to go and split something 15 ways, go to Chili's. Get that little tablet. Each person put in their card in the tablet, delete what they got, delete what they did. You know what I mean? Don't go to Nobu thinking that your waiter gonna split the tab 15 different ways. Be fucking for real. Okay? So I feel multiple ways about it. Thank you for the super chat, Charm Locks. It says he should pay since they want to be traditional and leave so bad. He didn't take her to dinner. He took himself. Y'all, high key, I don't even think he paid for her shit. Like, I just really don't think he did. I don't think he did. Zelly Boo says Sheree has no shame. Her track record says it all. Absolutely. Absolutely. She has no shames. And I agree, T. T says she was trying to emasculate Ross. Get out of here, right? Golden Baby says Sonya backtracked her statement on the after show about I understand he ain't your husband, but as you said, Sheree knows Martell ain't had no money at all. Nope, she know he ain't got no fucking dime. And y'all, I think that the solution to this is Sheree. Raise your standards. Like, raise your standards. Like, this is another situation where I'm like, this don't make sense. Sheree, you make good money from this show. The ladies often pay for each other to do things, to go on trips, okay? Y'all don't ask each other to split rooms and shit. Why is it that you dating somebody who don't have $1,500? I don't understand. Like, even if Sheree was to date somebody that was on her level or above, I'm telling y'all, he will be able to pay for everybody. Unless Sheree money ain't going nowhere, okay? Besides down to the plastic surgeon. Because it kind of made me second guess Sheree. It kind of made me think like, do Sheree not have no fucking money? And is this why she thinks that this is acceptable? Because like, you really have to think. To be able to be like, okay, maybe he shouldn't, you have to self-reflect and be like, would I do that shit? And if Sheree's answer is no, I just want to know what her money is looking like. I just want to know. And then Pink Pearl says, do y'all really think Martell playing that dinner? Absolutely not. I think that's another situation that she got herself fucked up on, for real. I think that was a birthday dinner that she planned for herself, and she told everybody that Martell planned it for her. I truly do. Sheree seems like the type of person that would just love to look like she had a man. And I hate that for her. I really do. So, yeah. Okay, y'all. So that's all I have on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know what else is coming on. We got a couple episodes of this left. I hope that something good comes on. I really want to talk to y'all about a documentary, something juicy. I've been in my like sponge phase where I just want to like soak up information. I've been like trying to learn a new language. Well, I've been trying to learn Spanish. I ain't took Spanish since high school. And I've also been watching documentaries. I'm just like trying to soak things up, and I really want to come on and talk to y'all about something good. So if y'all have any recommendations, let me know. If it's a documentary we can all watch and we can come on and talk about it. Other than that, we just got these reality TV shows. Y'all know September is around the corner. And that means we have fall shows again. I heard Married to Medicine is coming back November 5th. Real Housewives of Potomac is coming back in November. And then I also heard, or not heard, I think I know, what show is it? Love and Marriage Huntsville is coming back after Labor Day too. So we'll see about that. Kimmy says, have you seen Only Murders in the Building? No, I haven't heard of that. I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah. All right, y'all. That's all I got. I'll see y'all Thursday on Jamie That's Me channel for another episode of Ooh Ladies First Panel. I hope y'all liked our conversation today. Please share the video with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.